Hi peeps! Have you ever wanted to make beef pho at home? It is a very complex, time-consuming process to make it. And I'm telling you, my brother, who is a great cook, it takes him like almost a day to make the beef pho. And it tastes amazing. But I'm like, who has the time for that? I have a kit, and I came up with an idea for a beef pho kit that you can make at home in a very, very short time, and you will still have the taste and the aroma of the authentic pho. You gotta try it. So here's what comes with a kit. The noodles, the fish sauce, the red boat fish sauce, which is a very good brand of fish sauce, and the dipping sauce, which is the hoisin and sriracha. This herb bag is the most time consuming and the most important thing in making the beef pho. So I'm gonna try to cut everything up and let's get cooking. So you've got your kit and now you're ready to make your beef pho. Here are some of the ingredients that you need to get. In order to make the broth, you would need 2 or 2.5 pounds of the beef ribs, and you want to cut them up into single pieces like this, and 2.5 pounds of the beef brisket. Now this is what we recommend, but you can get other types of cuts of beef. But what you want is something that has a lot of fat in it, because that's what gives the broth the flavor. And optionally, if you've ever gone to eat beef pho at a restaurant, they serve the raw meat on top of the bowl just right before they pour the broth in. That meat, you can use London broil, you can use filet mignon. So some of the cuts, that's what I use. So it seems like a lot of meat, but that's what makes the broth and your pho bowl taste amazing. So there's no question here, where's the beef? There's a lot of beef. As far as the vegetable goes, you would want either the red or the yellow onion. I would use, this is a big one, so most likely I use only half. And 3 or 4 stalk of the green onion, and a bunch of cilantro. And a lot of people, they would say, well, they want to use the Thai basil, and this is what it looks like. And I know a lot of you don't have access to the Thai basil at your supermarket, and it is fine without it. It would taste amazingly the same without it. The one thing that I suggest to always have is the lime. It enhances the taste of the broth. Trust me, you gotta have this. So this is basically all you need. And let's get cooking. So the first thing you want to do is to clean the meat. What you want is to have 2 tablespoons of salt, sprinkle it all over, rub thoroughly, put a little bit of that, rub thoroughly like this, okay, throughout all the meat here. This is just to get off a lot of the blood and the gunk off it. So that's what you want to do, like this. A lot of people don't do this, but I prefer to do this just to clean things off a little bit. And now you want to rinse it off and you're ready to cook. So I got a pot here filled with 4 quarts of water, and I'm now going to place my beef ribs in here. Make sure you just place them in carefully. They don't splash water all over. And the beef brisket. Here. And I'm going to add in 3 teaspoons of salt. 1. And my herb bag, and bring it to high heat and bring it to a boil. And I'm going to place the lid on and keep it ajar so it doesn't overflow. So the pot came to a boil. I'm gonna start skimming off some of the impurities that floating to the top here, like this. I mean, you're gonna remove it at the end too, some at the end, but at this point you just want to remove as much as you can on the top. So once you've done that, you want to put the lid back on, turn the heat down a little bit below medium heat, and let it cook for about an hour and a half. So while you're waiting for your broth to cook, we're gonna prep the garnish. So I'm gonna cut up the onion. I mean, preferably you slice everything up thinly. I'm a lefty, as you can tell. So when I was in the kitchen with my mom, it bugged her so much. She would say, oh, it's just, everything is so opposite of you know, how you do things. It bothers me. So she would say, please, just let me do it. But I learned, eventually I learned. So I'm cutting up here the 4 stalks of green onion, okay? And I like cilantro, so my green onion to the cilantro ratio is pretty steep. Place it in a bowl. I'm gonna cut my red onion. I'm gonna use about half. And again, these you want to thinly slice and place it in the bowl as such. And you can mix it together, just roughly. That's it. We set it aside. So the broth has been cooking for about an hour and a half. What you want to do now is to take out any leftover impurities that you see floating on the top. So now I'm going to remove all the ribs and the meat from the pot. So the last step here is to season the broth with fish sauce. I usually just add, you know, 1/3 of a bottle first to see and then taste it before I add more. So stir it around. It's really good. If you need more, you can always use the entire bottle too. So we're good to go now. Okay, so we got the cooked meat, the brisket, and I'm just gonna thinly slice it. For the beef rib, you may choose to serve the entire rib like this per bowl, or you can just cut up the meat like this into smaller chunks. If you choose the option to serve raw steak with your pho, then you would want to, first of all, dab the moisture here. And since you have to refrigerate your meat after you cut it, what you want to do is get a piece of paper towel like this and line it. So then any of the, you know, liquid that comes out of this beef here gets into this paper towel so it doesn't make the meat all soggy. So what I do is I would cut into small pieces like this, cut against the grain. You can see the grain going this way. You want to cut against it. And slice it thinly, as thinly as you can. So now I have my meat all cut up. I'm just going to place it in this container. And I got a not big enough container, but this will do. And then close the lid, refrigerate until you're ready to serve. So I got about 5 quarts of water in this pot, bring it to a boil. You don't have to cook all the noodles. So cook as much as you want to eat, or you can make the whole thing. But for me, I would just probably make about half. And you just want to stir it up like this so the noodles, they don't stick together. And you let it cook for about 7 minutes or until al dente. So we're ready to eat, guys. I am so excited. So you get as much noodle as you want. Put it in the bowl like this. And put the cooked meat laid across as such. And then this is the beef rib meat. You can't go wrong with beef, guys. And this is optional again. You know, you can put the raw pieces on top. And now you're gonna pour the boiling broth into the bowl. You see how slowly it cooks the meat? The broth has to be boiling at a boiling point. This is absolutely delicious. Okay, and then the last part is the garnish. On top, like this. I like a lot of cilantro, so that's what I put on here. Last but not least, do not forget your lime. Have a good squeeze of lime in like this. My mouth is actually watering, guys. It's been fun cooking with you. Cheers.